He had me at hello in the UK version of The Office many moons ago, and also on Fargo and Sherlock, and now in the TV series Breeders, which premieres Monday, March 22nd at 10 Eastern on FX, with 2 back-to-back episodes. You can stream it the next day on Hulu. It's season 2 of Breeders, and the star of that FX series, Martin Freeman, the Emmy Award-winning actor, and so much more back right here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Martin?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Rich. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well. I have 3 children, ages 12, 10, and 7. I honestly don't mean to turn this into any therapy session. I love them dearly, but I see the point of your show, Martin. You know, I see the point of your show that despite the love, they can drive you a little nuts, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think maybe even because of the love, they drive you nuts. Because I guess who is anyone you know who you don't love who can drive you that crazy? I think that the people who can push your buttons most in the world are the people who you love most. You know, who can push them more than your parents or your kids. You know?
Yeah. I understand. I've got this sign right here in front of me. It says "Best Dad Ever." I have it on my desk here, so I use this as a shield to basically say they drive me crazy sometimes. You know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I think if we're alive and if we're present with our kids, that's going to happen because everything happens. You know, laughing happens, hugging, kissing. You know, all the loving stuff is going to happen alongside moments where you lose your mind with each other, you know, and they're allowed to lose their mind with you and you with them. You know, that's a part of a three-dimensional family life, really, which is where the show came from. I got sick of the sort of Instagram version of life that is projected, that is also kind of seeps into people's actual conversation now. You know, grown-up adults sort of want to project this thing that, you know, just being a parent is a blessing and a gift, and I feel so blessed, and it's amazing, and it's just wonderful. It's like, well, yeah, it is absolutely those things. It is a blessing and a gift, and it's also the hardest thing you will ever do if you want to do it well. So that's where it comes from, really. It comes, you know, myself, Simon Blackwell, and Chris Addison, the creators of the show. We're all fathers, and we all love our children to distraction, of course, but It doesn't mean you don't recognise the other side of it that isn't advertised on Instagram, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I play a poker game every week, or certainly I did pre-pandemic. Now I do it online. And before my firstborn was born, one of my great friends who's a father sits at the table. He goes, "Congratulations, you're going to have your first kid." But they ruin everything. They ruin absolutely everything. Think about just absolutely everything. Television commercials, movies, your own vacations, your sleep periods. And so I'm wondering what your own children think about this show, Breeders, that is again hitting season 2 on FX coming on Monday. What do your own kids think about this?
They love it. I mean, they really, and they not only love it, but they are aware that they are sort of the inspiration for it. So now they're hitting me up for royalties. I think they
want a back end deal from Dad. Is that what you're saying? Is what you're saying?
They sort of do. They're 12 and 15, and I think it started as a joke, but I think each time it comes up, they're a bit more serious. Well, no, Dad, this show wouldn't exist without us.
Right.
So was our chunk of the rock, you know. No, they love it. They really like it. I mean, apart from, you know, their mum's an actor, their dad's an actor, so they like watching their parents work, and I think they're very proud of us, which is lovely for me. But they also, of course, recognise, you know, the character I play, Paul, is a father who loves his kids and who occasionally shouts at them. And that's their home life, you know. So they recognise all kinds of things, all kinds of bells are ringing for them each episode of Breeders, with episodes that, you know, the things that happen that are not specifically they might not be from my actual experience, but they will be from either my or one of the writers' experience, because all the writers are parents. So it's all the stuff that, I mean, you mentioned not making this a therapy meeting earlier. You know, our development and, you know, creative sessions in the early days of this show were like father's sessions in therapy. We were just all admitting the worst things we had done or had happened to us and with us as parents, and, you know, stuff that might be mined for comedy, you know. Because as we know, you know, the flip side of all this stuff of tragedy and trauma is comedy. Like you only have to look at it through a slightly different prism, and you can laugh at it, or at least I hope you can.
Yes, absolutely. Martin Freeman here on the Rich Eisen Show. I'd love to go down your career. I obviously don't have all that much time, but I do want to start with the fact that long before here in America, and we fell in love with The Office, and you were part of the UK Office. You were playing the Jim role named Tim. How did you get fixed up with Ricky Gervais for this? And did you know that you were part of something that was going to be such a phenomenon at the time, Martin Freeman?
I'd done a sketch show for the BBC called Bruiser in 1999, and Ricky was one of the writers for it. He'd contributed material to it, and I met him, and we got on very well. We made each other laugh, and I thought his material was genuinely, like, properly funny, in a way that not everybody is properly funny. And I guess he remembered me for auditions for his show, The Office, that he was doing. That's kind of how I met him. But I auditioned for first of all, actually, I auditioned for Gareth, which is the English version of the sort of Dwight character.
Yes.
And then as I was leaving the room, they said, actually, why don't you read for Tim? So thank God I did, because I was better suited to that one. And yes, I didn't know it was going to be as big as it was, but I knew I was very proud of it, and I showed it to a couple of friends of mine and one of my cousins who's been a stand-up for like 25 years, and I showed it to him, and he said, "This is really, really good," And everyone I showed it to before it was on TV just thought it was, it was the detail of it, the sort of the exact precision of it was, it was just so beautifully observed. And Ricky, of course, was an amazing sort of central character in it. I didn't know it was going to be huge, but I knew I loved it.
Did you ever connect with Krasinski on the role in any way, shape, or form? Or no?
No, do you know what? I didn't. I've still never met John Krasinski. I've worked with his wife Emily, but yes. No, I've never met John Krasinski. I think he's brilliant, and I got to really like the show after feeling slightly resistant about the American one.
Why? Why were you resistant?
Well, because I think pretty naturally, if someone just did a version of your show in Britain and called it something close to your name and said it's going to be like a better British version, you might go, "Who the hell are you? What do you think?"
Right.
I was thinking that way, but not for very long. And then when I watched it, I went straight through. I thought it's a great show.
Martin Freeman here on the Rich Eisen Show. Fargo. I mean, for you to take on that role as well in the television version of the show, how often, how did you nail down that flat Minnesota accent? Is that the toughest accent you've ever had to nail down in your career?
To do it properly. Yeah, to try and do it properly and not do an SNL version of it.
Right.
But not to send it up, but to sort of give it its due and some, to give it a bit of reality, which I hope I did. I nailed it with a lot of work. Yeah, it was a lot of work. I had a couple of sessions before I went to Canada to do it, and then there was a voice coach on set all the time, because most of the people in the show needed some help with that accent, and it was a lot of work. I mean, whenever I'm doing a show at the moment where I'm doing an accent, I just stay in the accent all the time that I'm doing, always on set, I'm just in that accent. So it just becomes a sort of muscle that you work. But apart from anything else, I knew that I read the first episode of Fargo that Noah Hawley had written so brilliantly, and I just thought, oh man, this is too good. This is too good not to do. When it gets to that scene between mine and Billy Bob Thornton's characters, it's so beautifully done. And just the chance of working with him as well, it was just in that close proximity. It was a real pleasure. That job is one of my favorites.
Well, that season of Fargo is one of the greatest seasons of television I've ever seen. I mean, and I'm not just saying that because of you. We've had Colin Hanks on the show many times. I know him personally. Obviously, that was truly amazing. Before I do let you go, I know you've got a lot on your plate with this show today. Chadwick Boseman gets nominated for an Oscar posthumously. I would love to give you the floor on your experience of being with him on the set of Black Panther, Martin.
Well, he was just, he was a real gent, is the truth. He was softly spoken. He chose his words carefully. He was a workhorse. He worked harder than it's possible to imagine, I think. And I thought that at the time, and of course, no one knew he was ill. So, it used to make me laugh the amount he was, the amount of work he was putting in on set and off set at the gym. I remember talking to him and just sort of laughing at his workload. Now, knowing what we know and what he was probably going through at the time in 2017, it's pretty heroic. It's pretty heroic, really, to do the good job that he did on set, the way he led that cast as well, as an actor and as an individual human, and what he was battling with. I admire him even more than I did, and I certainly admired him in life, but. As I say, posthumously, finding out what we found out about how he was for the amount of time that he was ill, it's sort of unbelievable that he managed to do what he did.
You must have been gobsmacked when you learned. So you learned with just the rest of us that when he passed away that he was battling cancer on the set of Black Panther, Martin?
No idea. No one, and this is the thing. I spoke to a couple of people at Marvel, and I was like, did you really not know? Really, no one knew? They're like, no, nobody knew. It's incredible, really. It's a sort of, it sounds almost like a myth of what, human beings are capable of when they allow themselves to, push themselves that far. Yeah, no one knew. I was absolutely gobsmacked. And apart from anything else, of course, it's a lovely bloke dying way too soon, Never mind the acting bit or the legacy bit. That's a person who is a family member and a loved one and a husband, and that's the ultimate tragedy, of course. And for those of us who worked with him, it was it's awful, awful news and shocking news. But obviously, your thoughts are mainly with the people who knew him best and loved him.
And then before I let you go, Martin Freeman, last one for you. My wife loves Love Actually, but she only fills in for me on this show. I'm out here, so I'm sitting in the chair today. I got to ask you about Sherlock. Are you? Is that ever? You going to do another one? You and Benedict Cumberbatch?
I don't know. To be honest, no. I was told yesterday that last week Ben had been quoted as saying possibly. So I guess it depends who asks us and at what time. Okay. Funnily enough, I had a dream. Yeah, I did have a dream about doing Sherlock last night. Okay. I dreamt I was back on the set of Sherlock in a very strange setup. But
that sounds like an episode of Sherlock, to be very honest with you, Martin.
It does, yeah. I suppose everything is possible. It's a show that I'm very proud of. I think it's fantastically written, beautifully directed. And obviously it was a hit with many, many people, and I know why they loved it, because I love it. But as with all things, it has to be the right time and for the right reasons. For Benedict, myself, Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss, the creators, we all have to be in the right place. Okay.
Well, again, on behalf of my wife, she loved you in Love Actually as well, Martin.
God bless her.
That is a remote drop movie for her. She can't. She must watch it to its conclusion whenever she sees it.
It's a good film, isn't it? I like that film.
It's beautiful. She loves it. Actually, so there you have it. Okay, thank you, Martin. I could really bend your ear, and I've just really only scratched the surface of your career. I do hope this is the first of many times you appear on this show, and I look forward to seeing season 2 of Breeders on FX. Monday, March 22nd, 10 Eastern, and FX has 2 back-to-back episodes to get things started, and you can catch new episodes the next day on Hulu. Thanks for the call, Martin.
Thanks, Rich. All the best.
That's Martin Freeman right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.